Hi, I'm Shama Kern with Thai Healing Massage Academy. Welcome to another one of our Thai massage tips and tricks videos in the series. And this time I want to show you how to move clients from one position into the other. In Thai massage we use the position where you lie face up, which is called supine, or face down, which is called prone, or lying on the side, or the sitting position. The question is, how do you move someone from one position into the other? Now, if you have a very narrow mat or you're working on a massage table, then the only thing you can do is you ask your client to move around on their own strength, because you don't have enough space to move them. I mean, on a massage table, just that narrow, if you ask someone to turn around, well, they have to end up on the exact same spot where they started out. But if you have a wide mat like I have here, you don't have to ask your clients to do that. You can do it for them. And that's of course a more elegant way. You don't have to bother your clients. They don't have to do any work. You do the moving. So it's much nicer, but it only works if you have a wide mat, which is why I always recommend to have a wide mat or two mats next to each other. You will have much more flexibility in what you can do with Thai massage. So let's start with a really simple one. Let's say you want to move your client from the supine or face up position into the side position. We need two props. We need one pillow on my right, one pillow on my left. Now you want to take the arm of your client, put it across the chest, and move your left hand under the shoulder blade. So you need some leverage there for the lifting. Your right hand goes right under the knee, and now you lift the knee up, and to get leverage, bring your right knee up, and now you use that leg as a lever to move the body. So you push the leg over, and at the same time you lift with your left hand. Now it's important that you have your right knee up, because now you can move your body easily. If you stay like this, it's not that easy. It's cumbersome. So you definitely want to have your right knee up. All right, so you move like this, and you work with your entire body. Look at my body. I'm moving her over. And then you want to immediately put the one cushion under the head. That's very important, because otherwise the spine curves like that. You want to keep the spine straight. So the neck has to be in alignment with the spine. And you want to put a cushion under the thigh, and that is important, because if you don't do that, when you work on the hip and there's no support here, what happens is that the body just, I'll show you that, it just flattens out and slides away, and that kind of messes up the whole position. So that's why you want to support the thigh. And now if you work on it, there's some stability here. And even if you push against the side of the hip here, the body won't completely flatten out. So that is how you get someone into the side position. Now let me quickly show you how to reverse the process, which is quite easy. You want to reach around. Your fingers should feel the hip bone, the ilium. You kind of want to hook around the ilium, and that's where you pull. And with your left hand, you reach around the shoulder. And now, of course, you have to move back, that there is space. And now you just pull. That's an easy one. Immediately reach under the knee and help reposition it. So what you can also do, let's start again. If you have someone who has a fairly heavy leg, and you can reach under the knee like we got into it. Make sure now you move your left knee back, that you have space. It's like a yoga lunge position I'm in right now. And now you lift like this. The one time when you might not be able to do that is if you're small and you don't have much strength in your arms and your client has a big, heavy leg. Then you just can't lift it when you come back. So if you can lift the leg, you can do this. If you cannot lift the leg, just pull on the hip and let the leg come over all by itself, like this. And then you can kind of help position it. So the client will automatically slide off this pillow and automatically slide off that pillow. So now we're back where we started. So that's the first section, which is pretty easy, how to move a client from supine into side position and back. So now let's take it one step further. You have a client in the supine position and you want to roll them over into the prone position. And that takes a good amount of mat space, obviously. And we talked about why that's a good idea to have a big mat. So the technique is quite similar than the one I showed you before when we rolled someone from supine into the side position, with one difference. You see, if you would roll someone over completely, they would roll over their entire arm and they will probably end up lying right with their arm wedged under their body, and this is very uncomfortable. So you have to get the arm on the opposite side out of the way, and you do that by placing it above the head like this. Now the only problem is if someone has a very stiff shoulder, they can't put their arm in that position. So if someone is just too stiff, then you just will have to enlist them to do it on their own. So you have to say, can you please turn over? Because if the arm ends up like this, because they're so stiff, then what I'm going to show you just doesn't really work that well. So it depends on the flexibility of the client. The rest of the technique is actually pretty much identical to what I showed you in the previous transition from supine to the side. You put the arm across, put your left hand under the shoulder blade, lift the leg, raise your right knee, bring this up, and now when you roll them over, watch what happens with their arm. All right, so now they did not have to roll over their arm like this because the arm was above the head, and that is what makes it comfortable. But again, this only works if they have a reasonable amount of flexibility, but if they do, that's a nice and elegant way to roll someone from supine into prone. So now, how do we get the client back from prone into the supine position, which is quite easy. It's pretty much the reverse process. So now what you have to do, you see the arms are out to the side. So you can't just roll someone over because the arms are blocking the move. So what you do, you take the arm that's close to you and again bring it around so that the arm is aligned with the body. So now the person rolls over the arm that is basically stretched forward and not out here to the side, and that's the whole trick to it. So you bring the arm around, and again that requires some degree of flexibility, so it won't work on every single person. That's just how it is. And now you bring the other arm down, reach around the shoulder. Now you have to put your left knee back and your right knee up. If you stay on both knees, it doesn't work. And now you reach around the hip bone and pull up on the ilium. You hook your fingers around the ilium and the shoulder and just roll the person around. Bring your right leg back and you're back where you started, like this. So that's actually quite easy. The whole trick with rolling people over is that you have to just position their arm so that it's not along their side but above the head. If you do that, you can roll people over very elegantly and they don't have to do anything themselves. So now the final thing is, how do you get someone from the supine position into the sitting position? And there are two ways how you can do it. One is if your client is not very heavy and you have a little bit of body strength, then you can very easily just support the head, let's say with the left hand in this case. The right hand slides under the upper back and you just lift. So that's one way. And to reverse the process, you do the exact same thing. You just bring someone down, support the head and the lower back or the upper back, and bring them down. So that works if you have a little bit arm strength and the client is not very heavy. But if it's the other way around, if you're a small and light woman and your client is large and heavy, you're not going to be able to do that. So in that case, you have to do another technique, and I'll show you that. And for that, you have to stand up. So you lift the legs under the knees and turn them into a cross-legged position, like this. And then you stand up and position both feet against your shins. Now, you want to turn your feet out a little bit, because if you turn them forward, then there's the sharp bone hitting right against their feet. So it doesn't feel very good. So turn your feet out a little bit so that the muscle of the lower leg touches the feet and not the shin bone. So like this. Remember, turn your feet out a little bit. And now you grab your client's arms. You ask your client to hold on to your arms. And now make sure that you keep your back straight and you lean back. Pull your partner up. You lift out of your legs. So you're lifting with your thigh muscles, not with your back, you see, like this. Pull them up by leaning back, and now you step back. And now the client is in a sitting position. You reach around and support the back and come around, and now you can do whatever you're doing in the sitting position, but you should always support the back when the client is sitting, that they don't have to hold themselves up with their own strength. So these are the two methods how you can move someone from a supine position into the sitting position. And if you move them back, then even if you don't have a lot of strength, it's pretty easy just to bring someone back and do that. I mean, lifting someone is another story, but the reverse process, even if you're much lighter than your client, you should be able to do that. So now you have all the ways how you can move someone from supine into side, from supine into prone, from prone into supine, and from supine into the sitting position. Again, this only works if your mat is wide enough. I really encourage you to have a mat which is wide enough to do all those things, because it's just nicer, it's just more elegant to work that way than if you have to ask the client, can you please turn over, can you please lie on your right side, can you please lie on your left side. It's not as nice as if you do it yourself. So get yourself a nice big workspace and you can do all those things that I just showed you.